Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a series of videos about SolidWorks scripting using Python. And in this video, we are going to cover how to create and edit a revolve in SolidWorks using Python scripting. Let's begin. First, I'm going to create a part and I'm going to show you how to create a revolve in manual using SolidWorks and how it's works. First, I'm going to create a simple sketch. For example, a circle, a line here. I'm going to trim it and save it. Okay, let me save this document in my desktop. When I want to create a revolve, I need to first select my sketch, then my axis, which is in another sketch, and then I'm going to create revolve, but as you can see, it is disabled. So I cannot create a revolve in this way. Let me try another way. I'm going to create my axis in my first sketch, like this. And let me select my first sketch, which consists my sketch and my axis together. But now I'm able to create revolve and create a revolve here, as you can see. So sometimes, or I can say most of the time, you don't want to create your axis in your first sketch, and you need to create your axis in another sketch like this one. So I'm going to delete this axis here. Okay, so what should we do? In Python scripting, when we want to create a revolve, we need to first click on our sketch and then click on our axis. But as we can see, it is not possible to create a revolve in this way. So we need to use a function called insert axis to. I'm going to show you this function and code it for you. First, I'm going to run my libraries and connect SolidWorks to Python. And in this block, I'm going to first write the proper code and then explain it. Okay, this is a block we need to use to create a axis from a line in a sketch. I use line at sign or at sketch2, which will be this line. You can simply use macro to get this name. Let me show you. I'm going to start my macro, click on this line, and then stop it, save it, and at last open the macro, and you can see the name here. You can copy it and paste it here. But the important things I want to mention here is this. Let me search for select by ID 2 in API help and show you what I mean. As you can see, there are different arguments we need to pass, but this one, mark, let me show you here. It is here and it says go see remarks, and here are remarks. You can see we should use different number when we want to use different function. And for that, you can just read this page, or you can follow this tutorial to understand what number you should use, or at last you can simply use macro. I will show you what I mean. But for now, I use a 16 for here. As we were working with a sketch, we use 0 here. But I'm going to use 16 here. And the next one is insert axis to. It will just create a simple axis for us. We can use it for revolve function. And at last, I'm going to use clear selection 2 to clear my selection. Okay, I'm going to run this block of code. And as you can see, now I have a new object here or item here called axis1. And you can see it here. Okay, now let's use macro to create a revolve. I'm going to start a macro. First, I'm going to select my sketch and then I'm going to select axis1. As you can see, now I'm able to use revolve function and it is not disabled anymore. I'm going to select it and then okay, stop the macro, save it, and at last open it. As you can see, these lines are, or maybe these 3 lines, let me select it. These 3 lines create a revolve for us. I'm going to copy them and paste it here. And let me explain them line by line. It's very simple. The first line select a sketch for us. As you can see, it use 0. The second line select axis for us and it use 16 as we use it in the previous block. As you can see it here. And I'm going to delete this line. It is not necessary at all in Python programming. And let me edit it. And at last we have function called feature revolve 2. And as you can see, it gets a lot of arguments. Let me edit these 2 lines of code first and run them. Python com dot nothing. Let me delete this revolve and rearrange my windows. Okay. Let me run this block of code. As you can see, it will go select my sketch, my axis, and then create a revolve for me. Okay, let me search for feature revolve 2 in API help here. It is under feature manager. As you can see, it gets a lot of arguments. You can read about them here. It's very simple to read them and use them in your code, but I'm going to just cover this one, direction 1 angle. And let me show you what I mean. Direction 1 angle is this angle. For example, here we use a 360 degree, and you should know this angle should be passed in radian, not in degree. So when we are going to edit this angle, we are going to use radian instead of degree. Okay, let me put all of these codes together. I'm going to cut this block and paste it here. And for axis 1, we don't know the name when we create a new axis. For example, here, when we create a new axis, it will go axis 2. But for example, in some project, you need to create a lot of axes and you don't, or it is not efficient to count them. So I'm going to use a function, we talked about it in the previous video, or it's called feature by position reverse 0, or I'm going to pass 0. And this function select the last object we created. So I'm going to use this function, and instead of axis here, I'm going to use last axis dot name. And I just need to change this argument here. This argument allow us to append a new selection to the previous one. So when I set this true, it will select both of these sketch and axis for me. So let me rearrange my windows and delete this one or even this one and run this block of code. As you can see, it creates a new axis for me. Select both my axis and my sketch, and then and at last create a very clean revolve for me in SolidWorks. Okay, let's talk about how to edit a revolve. I'm going to create a new block here and I'm going to explain how to edit a revolve in SolidWorks scripting. To edit a revolve, it is very similar to how to edit a extrude. So I'm going to write the code here and then explain it very fast because it's very similar to how to edit a extrude. Okay, let's begin. As you can see, the code here is very similar to editing a extrude, and the only difference is this function and this function, get revolution angle and set revolution angle. I need to import a new library here called, or module here called mass. I'm going to run it because here I want to convert radian to angle or degree and print it here. But the result of it is very similar. So I select my revolve, get the object, get the definition, get an axis, and get the revolve angle. I'm going to show you how to get this function in API help. I'm going to search for this function first. I have selected. So here we have revolve feature data 2 interface. I'm going to click it and members. And I got these two functions, get revolution angle and set revolution angle from this page. For get revolution angle, it gets one argument forward and it can be true or false. True is for direction 1, which will be use it, and false for direction 2. We have just direction 1, so we are going to use true. As you can see here, I'm going to convert the angle or the revolution angle to degree and print it. At last, I'm going to divide it by 2 and set the angle. And at last, I'm going to modify it and edit the build. Okay, let me rearrange my windows another time. Okay, save this document and run this code. As you can see, it goes through all of these lines, and here you can see 360 degrees for this revolve, which now it is 180 degrees, as you can see here. If I run this line of code another time, I expect that get 180, and for the edited revolve, I'm going to get 90 degrees, as you can see it here. Okay guys, this is the end of the video. In this video, we talk about how to create a new axis, how to create a new revolve, and at last, how to edit it. See you guys in the next videos, and goodbye.